Well,
drinks. You owe me a soda.
Well, welcome everybody to Con Carolina's Live for Saturday night. I'm Jim Nettles. I am your Science and Tech Director. I'm also your online programming director and tech and bottle washer and everything else that apparently I'm doing. So welcome to a con favorite, and we have a special guest with us this evening. Very, very, very special. But tonight is a convention favorite of Geeky Rants, and I'm going to hand it over to our moderator, Darin.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the latest iteration of Geeky Rants. We have the creator of this particular facet of con life with us tonight. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Darin. How you doing? Good to see you.
It's a very soulful picture that you've got there. Can you tell us in a minute or so the impetus, the original name, and history of this particular panel?
Well, the celebrity name has been transitioned from Ben Affleck to Tom Cruise, but basically it comes down to should Tom Cruise be beaten with hammers and other geeky rants? And it's just a little brainchild I had of getting together for an hour and figuring out what we hate about what we love. Just because we love something doesn't mean that we don't often see the negatives or the plot holes or the what have you to it. And it's kind of fun just to get together and fuss about what we love.
And am I correct in saying that the first time we ever did this one was at Atomicon in 2018? Is that accurate?
No, we actually did this the year before at a Logicon.
Okay.
And it was kind of an impromptu thrown together thing. And there was such an incredibly mediocre response to it that we knew we had to take it on the road.
Got it. The one I remember doing first was Atomicon two years ago. And we basically had all the chairs in a circle down there in Charleston. And I think half the room was laughing so hard they started coughing because it was just so much fun. And so
we're one of those laugh till you cry days.
And now we know where the pandemic came from. We mutated it.
Out there in internet land, we're going to do our best to sort of bring some of that same energy. It's not quite the same not being in the same room, but we're going to do our best to play off each other in the same way. I would like each of my esteemed guests and Chris to introduce themselves. And
really?
Actually, on this particular panel, no one is more esteemed than Chris Shrewsbury. We are so that
sorry, hairball. Yeah, right.
No, I've done this panel without Chris present, and it just does not seem the same. So,
yeah, it's fun.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Who start?
You.
Me. Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Glagadine Capiche. Chris Shrewsbury, all around geek wunderkid from the 1970s and forward. My biggest fandoms that I love are Star Trek, and everything else is way down on the list from there, including the even-numbered movies. I even get into those. Happy to be here to fuss about things.
Excellent. Jim, not in charge.
Greetings. Greetings, humanity. I'm Jim, one of them. And I have been a fan of various things since birth, most notably things like Star Wars and Doctor Who and things of that nature. I these days am found doing writing, streaming, and podcasting all over the place.
Excellent. Samantha.
Hi, I'm Samantha Bryant. I write the Menopausal Superhero series. You can see my 2 latest releases behind me. And I also teach middle school, which means that I might be crazy. But, you know, I've got these guys to take care of me, so I'll be all right.
So she's in the middle of a Billy Joel song. Got it. Jim, who is in charge.
Wait, I'm in charge? How'd that happen?
Jim, who's wearing
The
that-
record button.
Oh, is that what happened?
You paid for the Zoom account.
More than that. I'm Jim Nettles. I am a science fiction, fantasy, urban fantasy, a bit of horror. Yeah, I need to have one of those too. As well as nonfiction. I write in a bunch of different spaces. Do a bunch of geeky consulting type stuff. I am the tech and ops person behind Continual. And obviously dressed for Geeky Rants because I was not planning on being on screen, but oh well.
You're wearing a shirt.
Huh?
You're wearing
Yeah.
a shirt.
I'm clothed. You should be happy.
Very.
I'm not kilted,
Beyond words.
however. I feel really underdressed. Yeah. But I am one of those, I'm an equal opportunity geek. I love both Star Wars and Star Trek, even though Star Trek was my first. But I'm a geek of all things, in being, but somebody's got to argue with Chris.
There's no shortage of that.
And I am your moderator. I'm Darin Kennedy. I am doctor by day, novelist by night. During the day, I practice family medicine in Charlotte, North Carolina. And by night, I write contemporary fantasy about magical chess games and urban fantasy thriller, contemporary, about Russian classical music. And I'm about to start a new series as well. So,
Because you don't have enough jobs yet.
because I don't have enough to do.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, like Chris said, is we're going to talk about the things that bug us about the things that we love, because I think part of loving something is recognizing the things in it that you love, but also the things in it that you wish would have been done better, because then you would love it even more. I think I'm going to let Samantha go first.
All right, so I came prepared to piss off Chris because, that is always my goal.
Line up.
I'm here to pick on Picard. So I was anxious. I was anxious to see this one, and I have always loved the character Jean-Luc Picard. But this show is so piecemeal and so made out of the leftover body parts of everything else set in space that it feels like a Frankenstein monster of a show. And I finally figured out today when I rewatched a couple of episodes to figure out what's wrong with this show. And I decided that it is Soji Asha. They've built this entire show around a character and forgot to make her a character. Like, she has no personality. She has no preferences. She has limited charm. And they might as well have just named her Mademoiselle MacGuffin, because she's just an object that we're all after. And this isn't the only show to do it, and it's not the worst one. The worst one was, in my opinion, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. I actually had to quit watching that one because I couldn't stomach Skye. Letting a young woman occasionally be petulant is not a personality.
She got a lot better.
I
I hope so, but I will never see it.
put three things on my top tier. Okay, Star Trek is like sex and fried chicken. When it's good, it's really good, and when it's bad, it's still pretty good. But I will say this: I completely 112% agree with you about that flaw. I know, just because I love something, Sam, doesn't mean that I can't see its flaws. I mean, seriously.
Really? Where did that start?
I'm friends with Darin. So anyway, by the way, Doc, shouldn't you be in a lab somewhere? I'm just saying.
I get time off too, man.
No, I completely agree with you. They have done some really good things there with that, but a lot of it has been straight up fan service. But I mean, to me, some of the best characters on the best character on the show is the Doc. I mean, I like what she is about, and she's got some depth. And
You have to get pretty far into the show before she has any, though. And,
well, that's true.
And everybody turns on a dime. I mean, the Doc, she's a scientist and she had zero skepticism when shown the disaster of the world. Zero skepticism. Right. She's just like, yep, I'm on board.
Correct. And then also it's like, okay, so she does this, and she does a horrible murder, but she's still okay. Huh? What? No.
Because we can blame that there was a little bit of tampering with her mind. We're going to excuse that. No. Damn Vulcans, half Vulcans, whatever. I will tell you, here was my biggest problem, other than Sochi. I agree that they just sort of treated her the entire time as
in a little shiny metal box, and it would have made no difference to the plot.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Data's daughter. Data had way more personality starting out than she did.
Yeah.
And if she's supposed to be a much more evolved unit, other than just a sex bot, I mean, that was just sort of the way it felt across. But my bigger rant was this. I thought what they did with Picard was wrong. You saw it coming the whole time. They led straight up to it.
Yeah, it was like a big flashing neon sign.
And then when Picard wakes up, he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, no, I don't. My Picard would have been a bit miffed. He might have even been peeved.
I'm not convinced that my Picard would have been in the position to be in this show at all, because when things went badly, he wouldn't have gone and hid on a farm in France for a couple of decades and ignored all of his friends and been the worst friend ever to Raffi. If he was any worse of a friend, I would change his name to Lorelai Gilmore.
If you haven't read it yet, I would suggest reading the Picard novel, the prequel to the series. It does in no way redeem all of the things that you're talking about, but it definitely fleshes out a lot more how he went from 0 to warp 10, douchebaggery and isolationism and all that. But nothing excuses the, let's drop Raffi off a cliff without a Lazarus pit underneath.
That was my other big problem. Is that was never Picard.
So Picard's a Jedi.
I could see that.
For a while, something goes bad, banishes himself for 20 years to a faraway place and doesn't talk to anybody, but eventually comes back and does stuff. That's a Jedi.
Named Jar Jar Binks.
I thought it better from Luke, though, because Luke had a history of throwing a little snit fit and running away.
Good point.
Like across all the stories.
Whiniest creature in the galaxy, Luke Skywalker, yes.
Yeah, he was like, sorry, Yoda, this is rough. I'm going to run away.
Yeah.
And that was in the first movie.
Did he ever make it to Tashi Station? Seriously, did he ever stop by for those freaking power converters?
In the comic series, yes. In the comic interpretation of it, they actually did, because there's a whole scene with him and Wedge Antilles and a couple of others.
Biggs? You mean Biggs?
No, Wedge.
Or later?
It's set earlier, because Wedge is there on the recruiting station. And Biggs is there with him, but Wedge is, the first time you see Wedge in the comics, is there as a recruiter for the rebellion on that station.
Also, in the Robot Chicken version, he definitely made it to Tashi Station, if you know what I'm talking about.
It was more Tasha Yar, but
Tashi Station, and here come the power converters. That's one of my favorites. That whole episode.
No, when Vader calls back to the Emperor's office after the Battle of the Death Star, and he has this like really weepy one-way conversation. The Emperor, he's like, "Hold it, yeah, now go." Really, my Death Star, right? Oh God, now he's crying. What the hell's an aluminum falcon? Seriously.
And he tells Vader that he probably smells like burnt bacon.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Have you finished your rant, Samantha? Do you have more pent-up Picard frustration that you need to let the internet know about?
I think that'll do me for now. I don't want to beat a dead horse after it's already beaten itself.
Okay. Jim, not in charge.
Hi.
We would love to hear about what is on your mind and driving you up a wall. Go.
Oh, wow. So it's funny because it's after that I keep thinking maybe I should just talk about Star Wars, but no, I will talk about that another time. I kind of something that has troubled me for a very, very long time. I don't know how long. This is more of a general thing that happens a lot. Has to do with disposable bad guys in all manner of the fictions. Now, I'm not just talking. I'm talking a lot. Actually, I do a lot of stuff with tabletop RPGs. So this is where I see the effects of that on people. More often than not. But I'm not talking about video games where you just shoot people down. That's I'm not talking about like combat scenarios, Space Invaders, what have you. But you have these storylines where people are slaying dragons or orcs or robots or what have you, and there's a storyline, and basically these beings are portrayed as one-note things. And I don't think that's good for us. I think that is causing problems. I know that it's been happening in myths for ages. I know this. I know that's been popularized more recently by Tolkien, Edgar Rice Burroughs, etc. But it's the thing is that just because it's a trope doesn't mean we have to keep doing it. The thing is that we get used to seeing people of any kind as one-sided. It's easier for us to think of them that way in real life. We learn how to be human by watching other humans, and that includes their media. So it's a problem, I think.
But you got to have somebody to kill.
Of course.
I mean,
and every single plot, you can have somebody to kill. It just has to mean something.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it means they're dead. That's what it means.
It means they were the first things that show that whoever the hero is has the ability to eliminate the problem between them and the big bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you want to have them like that, that's fine. You can have now. Once again, I'm not talking about simple combat scenarios. I'm not talking about something where you have a guard. You don't have to give a backstory to every guard that shows up. I'm not even talking about that. The thing is, you can, if you show a type of being, you can acknowledge that their personhood. It takes one line. That's it. That's all you got to do. You don't even have to use a line on it. You can just show a thing in the background. It's somehow there is media that actually does this and gets it right. I recently saw the Witcher TV series, which has a humongous number of flaws in it. It gets that right. Every monster that he goes after, actually, you can still kind of see that they're a person in some way or another. The ones that are intelligent.
Yeah, I mostly pulled for the monsters in The Witcher.
Yeah, it's a thing. And I mean, surprisingly, one of the franchises that I see that does this sometimes better than others has been World of Warcraft, because you actually have an entire ability to play one side or the other. The thing is, even I can see the writers there sometimes struggling depending on what era it is, because there have been times where they're trying to sort of force the oh dear, we lost somebody. Where they're trying to force the more monstrous appearing characters' storylines to seem as though they're more evil, like inherently evil. But the thing is that people have choices in life. They have free will, and that is going to, if you're a sentient being, it's going to be the same for orcs. It's going to be the same for goblins. And the thing that really ticks me off is when I'm trying to, it's if I'm playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons or anything, any other RPG, and you have players who have decided that because in the manual this thing says evil, that they want to interpret that as though all of them are just, instant targets on their chests. And that can't be good for us.
Yeah, there's a line, if you make everything too nuanced, then you lose some of the pulpy kind of fun that can be had in some of these kind of stories with simplifying black and white lines, so to speak. If everything is too gray, it's all muddly, and then that gets crazy. But I think if you only have these throwaway villains and you never have anybody we fight that there's any ambiguity or depth to, then your story suffers. And it especially suffers if it goes on a long time. You know, if it's not just this little one-shot moment, but it's the over and over and again and each episode.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's mainly what I had to say about it, really, to tell you the truth.
My biggest rant are when you see the big bad and the big bad has nothing. The big bad is just, I'm evil for the sake of, I'm evil.
Yeah, like Iago in Othello.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is somehow Iago's fault, I think, in all dimensions.
But it
all
is
evil.
interesting that if you're playing a game like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, if you're like, you can be a lawful good paladin, you can be a lawful evil paladin, and it's like the humans can be whatever they want to be. But then when you flip into, you know, the monster book, kobolds, evil, orcs, evil, hobgoblins, evil. I'm like, there's never been a hobgoblin that goes, you know, I just want to write books, or an orc who like, I just want to be a farmer. You know, it's like that can't exist because you've made an entire race. And if you really, I mean, not to get too heavy, but the presence and existence of something called a half orc means that we're not talking about different species even, we're talking about different races. And that gets into a very dangerous thing, which is exactly what you're pointing to. We're not going to get too heavy of a panel, but, you know, dogs and wolves are related. They can still breed. And but wolves are not inherently evil.
Exactly. And that's the thing. That's why I like more. There are more modern interpretations of alignment where it's more of a personality test type deal with anything else. It's like you'll have a lot of these people have tendencies in this direction, but yeah, to actually label all members of a species as they're going to be evil, it's just it really does things, I think, to us that are not good for us.
I would agree. I was going to point out another example, not a less fantasy one. Like every single time you watch one of the Marvel Universe movies, you have like in the Avengers, there's 10,000 of this one alien. And the reason they do that is so that the computer generators just make one thing, and then they have the computer make them do 10,000 different things. But then all of a sudden it just becomes, how quickly can the Hulk swat these things? And then whenever you get back into like the Two Towers, they're like, this group of Uruk-hai all basically look the same. So you're all like completely interchangeable. Then there's the one big one with the white handprint on his face. You're slightly unique. So we know you're going to last a little bit longer. And then you have your Saruman character or your whatever. And you know, that's going to be tougher, but your uniqueness connotes in the story how long you're going to last. And it sort of telegraphs your move. You know, if there's 10,000 minions in Austin Powers, the minions are going down, or the stormtroopers, or whoever in whichever movie.
Yeah.
All right, we got to quit talking about him now.
Oh, Chris is back.
I was doing so good too. Took a little nap, had a drink.
I think the only other thing I want to say just in response to that is that I think that there's still room for like the the fun just sort of thing, you know, video game where you're mowing down enemies type deal. I think there's still room for that. But I feel like there needs to be some acknowledgement somewhere, just some idea. Even, you know, Star Wars, you see this pop up that there's this expectation that stormtroopers are all going to be, you know, dedicatedly evil in some things, and then in others, in like one or two rare others, they have personalities. So it's like it's just, I think, helpful to at least have a nod of some kind to the idea that sure, you can go in and be as pulpy as you like, but there you've got. Let us not condemn an entire group of people to being viewed a certain way, because that really just teaches us to do that, you know, carte blanche.
Good words, Jim. Good words.
I won't say anything because I don't know what you guys discussed in the 3 days I was gone.
Are you okay? Is everything all right?
You know, apparently you can't clean your iPad by dunking it in the sink. Apparently, I don't know. Or so it has been explained to me.
Maybe if you'd quit chewing on your foot.
You're just mad. Okay, you're just mad because you don't have one.
Indeed.
I mean, he's got 2 of them, hasn't he? Oh, no, never mind. Anyway.
So, Jim, who is in charge? What's grinding your gears?
Well, right now, that's the wrong enterprise. So,
shut your mouth. Hold on, come here. Best of all the enterprise designs right here. This is the one. Okay, you can go now.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So, all right, I'm just going to mute him. I have that power. So,
Oi.
So, looking at my rant, my big thing, and I've gone back, and my thing is, if you're telling stories in a given universe, keep not necessarily consistent voice, because if you're changing characters, you're changing story, you're changing times, all that sort of stuff. There's going to be change into it, but there should be an underlying consistent spirit and attitude to it. So watching the original run of Penny Dreadful, very strong characters, very strong story. You felt pulled through all of it. We started watching the first couple of episodes of the new one in LA. And while there's a lot of people I really like in it, it does not hold the same level of story, and it doesn't hold the same power and character to it. And it feels like we have these check boxes we want to check to make sure the story is told, and we're checking the boxes. We're just checking the boxes as we go through the story. And I'm like, okay, well, these people are coming. Well, okay, we have Nazis. Nazis are evil. Well, they're of course going to tie to this. They're going to tie to this. They're going to tie to this. And it feels very much like they're using it as straight up. Everyone is black and white, good or evil. And you don't have the nuances of the characters that the first Penny Dreadful set as such a good storytelling and making it feel like it was a real world.
I really liked the first one.
Yeah.
It's been as the series has gone on a little bit, it's softened up and gotten a little bit better. And, there's always that thing of when you're starting out, you got to find your feet and everything underneath you. But it just does not carry the same tone. It's not carried the same level of story. And for so much that was done before and have something to build on, and for the characters they have, there's a good plot there somewhere. And they have the talent and they have the actors. I mean, Nathan Lane is probably the best one I've seen actually in character on this. He's the only one I actually see emotion and connection to. Other than that, it's been this person is this, very much check the box. This person is this, very much check the box. And it's been very disappointing on that one. So I'm going to have that rant about that, despite the fact they have a lot of talent in there I really like. It's been very meh.
Sometimes I think it's worse when it won't just go ahead and be bad enough that you can write it off. I felt that way about Picard. It was like if the show was a little worse, then I just wouldn't watch it. Mm-hmm. But I kept watching it, hoping it would be something better because there was enough in there that was good. It's like, could you just go ahead and be bad so I can go on to something else?
Yeah, I'm now down to, am I right about how I think they're going with the plot? Now where I'm just playing the game of, I wonder how right I am as to how well they've plotted this. And if I hit it higher than 80%, I'm going to be so disappointed. Because it's going to be that whole, in other words, you went and took out the playbook. The story has to be this, 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 and this. We had no nuance. We had no twist. And it was like, can't we just blow up LA and get it over with? Who's going to notice?
Bring in Kurt Russell. Do it again.
Yeah.
Nice.
Escape from Penny Dreadful. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Escape from Penny Dreadful.
Yes.
I'd pay to see that crossover.
So would I.
It may.
So now the Kickstarter. We're starting the new film for.
Look, you know what? They could turn it into a series. They could have Kurt Russell escaping from something else every week, and I would tune in. I wouldn't care.
All right, here's your crossover. Bruce Banner as Kurt Russell, playing Snake the Plissken. So you
No.
have instead of the
Snake
Hulk
the
every week.
Plissken?
Uh-huh.
Who is this old man? Snake the Plissken? No. Snake Plissken.
I've been sitting here all day long.
We don't need this whole Bruce Banner thing in the middle. I mean, seriously, every Thursday night from 8 till 9, Bruce. This at me now.
Bruce the Banner.
Snake. Exactly. Snake Plissken escapes from Asgard. Snake Plissken escapes from a cheese souffle. I don't care. I would watch every single one of those.
And I want to do the
Can you
season
do one where he
finale.
comes out of a cake in one of those old-fashioned dance outfits?
Bingo. Exactly.
And
Snake
the series,
Plissken escaped from my cousin's bar mitzvah. Whatever. I don't care.
and in the
That
series,
would be a great series.
the series finale is Escape from Malibu, and it's basically Snake for an hour with a pina colada on the beach, going, "I ain't going nowhere."
I mean, seriously.
Escape
Snake,
from ennui.
Escape from Chris Hansen. Excuse me, Snake. Would you sit down? I want to talk to you about that. I've got the transcripts here. I mean, I don't care. Seriously.
Escape from Chris Hansen.
Escape
Plissken
from
versus
Trans.
Predator. We could do this. We could do this.
It's an idea.
Catch a Plissken. We can do this.
Now we need the Chris Hansen, Arnold Schwarzenegger to catch a predator crossover.
Oh, that'd be the best, wouldn't it?
That would be
I think that's-
fantastic.
I think that's actually been done by like a Robert Smigel kind of cartoon thing,
That would
where,
be awesome.
where the predator comes in the house, and Chris Hansen like makes him sit at the bar and like goes over the transcripts, and the predator the whole time with the teeth and everything. It's great. Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Very good.
We now know what planet you're from.
Mr.
Okay.
Sherry, what has got your goat?
Okay, funny you should say goat. I've been visiting goats in the past little bit. I went out with another wonderful author friend of ours, J.J. Dunaway, friend of the show, to her goat volunteer area and have done some goating.
It's my sister. She volunteers at a farm that takes rescue animals, including goats.
I always
Yeah.
knew you'd be involved in a goat roping somehow.
Okay, look, I am from West Virginia, and we're all lying. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
As far as what is baking my biscuits today, it's something I talked about before, and that has never stopped me from talking about it again. I am tired of these different properties, be it a movie, be it television, a book series, whatever. I'm tired of them trying to raise a level of tension, danger, suspense, emotion. Okay, I want that. I want them to do that to me. I want to see a movie that has high stakes. I want to read a book that has got, something pulling me in. But I'm tired of them cheapening out, wussing out, and backing away from it. A great example, and again, I'll use my own fandom. Star Trek Picard. They killed Picard. That's huge. That is a milestone moment. That will send repercussions to the Force. I mean, seriously, he's an iconic character and had a death, but then 5 seconds later he's back. And don't take me there only to say, yeah, but we really can't afford it. Let's move back emotionally. They did the same thing when they killed off Spock in Star Trek II. Spoiler alert from the 80s. Great, amazing moment. Powerful performance. Did not see it coming. It was great. And then the next movie, he's back.
It can be so powerful when they let it stay. Like Logan is actually my very favorite of all superhero movies, at least at this moment. And part of it is because we let the death stand. Now, I know it's Wolverine, so they could bring him back tomorrow, but they haven't.
I mean, these Jedi junkies over here in the Star Wars universe, Rey can do all of these amazing things, and then all of a sudden, a force power that has never been talked about in 9 movies. Bring him back from the dead.
Yeah.
Heal injuries and that kind of thing.
It's been talked about bringing him, stopping death, but not that way, not as a healing. I'm going to make you feel better. And the fact that the main way they had to introduce that was Baby Yoda.
No, they didn't introduce it from Baby Yoda. They introduced it in Rise of Skywalker.
No. Baby Yoda actually came out first, and there is history. Yes, the Baby Yoda episode aired just before.
It did. Yeah, it aired before the movie came out.
And there is actually, if you read in the sort of canon novels, there is hinting at some Jedis having healing abilities. But the first time you see it on screen in any of the series is Baby Yoda coming out and going, "I need a nap."
Yeah, but that's not force healing.
Yes.
That's not.
Yeah, it was force healing because the guy got torn up by the squid creature.
Yeah.
What is he using if not the force?
A Band-Aid.
It wasn't a Bacta tank.
Now I want a set of Band-Aids to come out with Baby Yoda doing this printed on them. That'd be great.
But I mean, in Rise of Skywalker, Rey, healing and bringing back and healing injuries. No, you took me to a powerful death. Let it stand. Let me experience that emotion. Let me process that. Let me, that's an interesting story to tell. What comes next?
Well, we got to have season 2, and it's his name on it.
Okay, then let it be his android daughter they found somewhere. I don't care. Look, if they can bring Spock back, they can figure out a way to make the Picard name live on.
You'd have thought that either Disney or Marvel took over the Star Trek universe.
I mean, tell the story. Let Star Trek 3 be the story of the Enterprise crew and Kirk and McCoy going on without Spock and dealing with his death and filling that void and processing those emotions. That's character-driven storytelling.
That's
good stuff.
Sorry. You know something that has done that recently that has actually done that pretty well, and I was amazed because I was not expecting this. Have you seen the on Amazon Tales from the Loop?
No,
I have not done yet. It's on my list.
Just started watching it. Just a little. I binged it a few days ago, and it's a lot of people compare it to Stranger Things because it's like 1980s, and some of the episodes have kids doing things, and it's strange government facility, but it's a much slower storytelling thing. The thing about it is that when something happens in there, it generally stays happened. They don't try to preserve things to bring it back for the next episode. Not everything gets a tidy little a tidy little reversal. Things do all come to an ending eventually, but it's they've done actually, I think, a fabulous job of keeping the stakes very real for things that can happen seemingly mundanely, and then you're like utterly screwed and you cannot get out of it. But it's about dealing with that, and they actually take the time to do that. So I highly recommend checking that out.
I'm just tired of lazy storytelling or storytelling that does not give the audience the benefit of the doubt that we can quote unquote handle it. And I
think there's a bravery missing sometimes, that you wanted to do this hard thing in your story and you just don't have the cojones to stay behind it, and so you backtrack.
That's exactly right. It's cowardly. It's okay. Look, I know movies are a business. I will see Star Trek 3 without Spock. You've got my money. I will pay to see that movie. Not a problem. But I think the makers, studios or authors, screenwriters, whatever, are just afraid. They don't think that's bankable. I don't know.
Yeah. That explains pretty much the whole of Rise of Skywalker, sadly.
And unfortunately,
I think when stories try to jump generations, they often have a hard time doing that, like how to use the old characters and actually move on into the new story. And I think that's part of the problem that was happening with Picard too. I was more interested in nearly everybody else in the show than Picard.
Yeah.
Picard's arc was real darn obvious from like the beginning. As soon as we found out he had a brain problem, I'm like, oh, he'll go sacrifice himself and go out in a blaze of glory. And then they pulled back from that punch, and they didn't let him go out.
If they'd have just said this is a limited series run and let that be the punch, that would have made it a much better.
Oh, that would have been such a more powerful ending.
Oh God, yes.
And then
I look forward to
maybe they couldn't call the show Picard anymore, but I don't know. I would still watch a second season that didn't have him in it, that continued with the rest of that crew, because there were so many interesting people.
I look forward to seeing Picard someday.
I think they should all go. I think they should all go move in with the Rikers. Okay, best episode of the entire series.
Yeah.
When at the Riker house, bar none.
Yeah, their little wild child had more emotion than Soji
everyone else.
Entire series.
And how nice was it to see Deanna Troi being something other than a potted plant, whatever. I mean, she actually tells John, basically you're an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
You're, and Will Riker is a pizza chef. Okay, fine, I can deal. That's cool.
I can buy that. The trombone playing pizza chef. Perfectly get
okay,
that.
If he would have picked up that trombone, I would have canceled my CBS All Access subscription. I'm so glad that little trope or that little backstory didn't get a call back.
I was so depressed by that. So depressed.
And I hate that they didn't use Geordi.
Yeah.
Because he ended up going to Utopia Planitia as the commanding officer right before the Mars attack.
Yeah,
so gets the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that they could have and maybe still can flesh out of all that. But yeah,
although it was already getting to be a bit much with it's like, let's see who we can bring back rather than building a story now. Well, you were talking about fan service.
It becomes Love Boat Picard.
Yeah.
See.
Love Boat. Yeah.
Starring Michael Dorn, waiting for you.
This weekend, 10 forward. This week, it's
instead of having the little lifesaver around your picture, you
No.
already knows that I think the best Star Trek series was the Orville. So
Orville does some good Star Trek.
They really do. They do it better than Star Trek in some cases.
Truth.
I've just started watching the Orville this morning.
I found it uneven. I'm not real comfortable with how it's slapstick and serious, like on the turn of a dime. So I find it jars me a bit when it jumps tones sometimes.
Yeah.
But overall, I really liked it, and I really liked that it was a crew not made of paragons who are all the best of everything that they've ever been. It's not the best captain ever with the best first officer ever and the best science officer ever.
Yeah.
A bunch of people.
Yeah. It's people with problems. I like that.
Yeah.
How'd you back the Starship into that? Didn't you see the space station right there? How the hell did you back into that?
I still argue that the best Star Trek ever was Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, true. That was awfully good.
Is the best Star Trek anything ever made.
And
if you don't choke up with the final
played the main character, the guy who out Shatner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen?
Yeah, Tim Allen.
I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah, if you don't choke up a little bit with the Grabthar's hammer at the end, you have no soul.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh dear.
Especially now.
Now I have to watch that.
In the light of his death, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a documentary about that just came out a little while ago for the anniversary. I got to see that.
I actually
I've seen it. It's good.
I went to the theater. They had like a one night showing, one of those special things. I hardly ever go do those. I did one for the Final Rush tour, and I went and saw the Galaxy Quest documentary, and they were both very cool. But we are actually talking about that one on a previous panel, and apparently it's available on DVD now. So if you want to watch it, you can probably either one of
I think it's Amazon too, on Amazon Prime.
It might be on Amazon. Yeah, okay.
That's where I saw it was streaming.
Sweet. All right. Has everyone been able to?
Well, I don't think we heard what's burning your biscuits, Darin.
Well, in
Tell
honor,
us.
Well, this I think we've been able to work some of that in today. So yes, Darin, what is it, my friend?
In honor of Chris Shrewsbury, I'll do a little segment that he always very much enjoys. But
Hercules.
I've been talking for a couple years about the various CW superhero shows, and basically my rant usually starts with the fact that Oliver Queen has died about 400,000 times. Well, this past season, I'll have to retire this segment a little bit because Arrow has been canceled. There is no more Arrow. And Oliver Queen finally did die, but then he was resurrected, of course, as an immortal ghost who has infinite power. So
I feel better now.
I have a sneaky suspicion we'll be seeing Stephen Amell again at some point in the future, the next time the universe is in danger. But apparently, just before the Green Arrow shuffled off this mortal coil, he handed off the ability to survive any injury to Barry Allen, the Flash. Because I'm watching, I am a little bit bummed, and I understand why, but I am a little bit bummed that pretty much all of those shows had to finish on either episode 18, 19, or 20 of 22, and they build those very carefully to finish in a certain way. And so pretty much those shows across the board had to make their 18th, 19th, or 20th episode their season finale. And so everything feels very unfinished. And I'm hoping that they're able to finish up those stories in the fall. But we'll see when we can make television shows again.
You mean the spring?
That's just doing the right thing during a pandemic, and I understand it. But I have talked on this panel before about being frustrated when real world things allow me permanently to never see what the original intent was. I still kind of want to see the episode 9 where we still have Carrie Fisher. I still want to, there's lots of things like that. And, the real tragedy is that we no longer have Carrie Fisher, but there's also the tragedy that no one will ever see what we were going to see. But that's, again, another thing. I'll stick with the more fun. And this week, the one that got me was Barry Allen survived something. And I just watched as this was happening. I was like, I know exactly what you're about to do. And sure, why not? Their arch villain this time is a new version of the Mirror Master, and she has shattered a mirror, and it is on the ground. And then she telekinetically hurls the various shards of the mirror at Barry. And so he's got chunks of shiny glass sticking out of his chest. And then he's on the ground. He's injured. He can do nothing. He's basically powerless and helpless and can do nothing. And she really, really, really wants to kill her husband, who is right behind Barry. So what does she do? She has the little pieces of mirror go straight through him and out the back and kill her husband. To which I'm watching, and I'm like, there's stuff inside the human body, right? It's not like we're a big marshmallow. And if you put a BB on one side of the marshmallow and then hit it with an electromagnet and it goes through, it just basically disrupts marshmallow. I was like, well, no, the big one that was right over his heart would go into his heart and then in the back, there's your shoulder blade, which is the scapula. And I guess she theoretically could have taken a piece of glass the size of my iPhone and had it basically go directly through his scapula. But if you have a piece of glass go through your heart and or the blood vessel going from your heart to your arm, which is a major part of the body, it's right here, and then go through one of your bones, I have a feeling you're going to be dead. You're welcome, Chris.
And that's why doctors take all the fun away.
Thank you so much.
My rant is basically the human body is not a marshmallow. When you pass things through it that are sharp and lacerate things, people die. Please.
So pointy stabby is bad, is what you're saying.
Stabby whack is bad, yes.
Stabby pointy, not a good thing.
We're talking like a 5-inch. I mean, I don't know very many people who can take like a 5-inch thick. I'm not talking like long. I'm talking like thick. And
be careful where you go. This is still PG-13.
Pass it directly through your chest and still survive. So
you said you don't know very many people, so you know someone?
You're saying there's still a chance.
Well, he's sitting right next to him on the video. So.
Nice Dumb and Dumber reference.
There we go.
So that's my little rant. I will continue to do my the ridiculousness of superheroes not dying when certain things happen to them. But I will give Stephen Amell and his Oliver Queen a break just this once.
You're gonna give Oliver Queen his final rest.
Unlike the CW, who brought him back as the Spectre.
Well, they finally found to kill him, right? End of series.
Look, the only part of that trope that I gotta say I want to keep is Return to Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise Groundhog Day sci-fi movie. It is so awesome to see Tom Cruise die that many times in a movie. It is the best. Oh my God, it's Christmas.
Hey, that might be a Tom Cruise movie I'd watch.
Forget Die Hard. That's my Christmas movie. Oh, popcorn, eggnog, and Tom Cruise decapitated. Tom Cruise stabbed. Tom Cruise shot. Tom Cruise incinerated. Tom Cruise exploded.
I think we've got our next movie date.
There we go. I'll sit through a few of those.
Alrighty, y'all. We're coming up on the hour. It was great to be able to spend some time together talking about the things we hate, about the things we love. Thank you, Chris, for coming up with such a fun panel for us to do again and again. And we always find something new to rail about or chat about. And I would like to thank each of my awesome panelists for hanging out with me for an hour and bringing some fun and ire to this discussion. If anybody wants to do a little plug for where people can find you, that'd be great. Samantha.
So again, I'm Samantha Bryant. I write the Menopausal Superhero series. If you Google Samantha Bryant author, you'll find me. Put the author though, or else you're just going to find Colin Hanks' wife. That's not me.
You sure?
My first book is currently on 99-cent sale. So it's a good moment to try out my series.
Excellent.
Her series is amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Love it.
Chris.
I'll be out signing autographs in the hallway. Here at the house, I'll be signing autographs in the hallway.
Your address is
1313 Mockingbird Lane.
Oh, good.
I think about the only other Con Carolina's appearances I'm going to have. I'm putting together some deep dive Star Trek trivia question and answers that are going to be interspersed throughout the weekend.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Jim Ryan.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me. I miss seeing you folks quite a lot, and so it's always a pleasure. Even though I can't go to Con Carolinas this year, I'm at least I got a little piece of it. I believe this is my only Con Carolina appearance this year, as this is the only one we were able to work out. But I was very glad to be able to get into it. I am a writer, streamer, and podcaster. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where mostly these days it's host to game signups, but there are links there to my various legacy projects, audio, a lot of them audio. You can I do a lot of streaming of tabletop games these days. That's like the main thing right now, and that's at twitch.tv/otherdoc, OTHERDOC. You can also follow me on Twitter at otherdoc, OTHERDOC, where I will have a pinned post that has most of the things that I have ultimately going on. You can find, I tweet about all the stuff that I'm doing, so you can find that there. But mostly we do games on multiple days of the week. So come check it out if you so desire.
Nice. Jim Nettles.
Oh, me? What? Yes. Jim Nettles. You can find me at jamespnettles.com. You can also find us at authoressentials.net. And I pointed the wrong way because I've got mirror turned on. You can obviously find us at Continual, at thecontinualconvention.com. And you can get to pretty much all my shows and my author me, jim-mcdonald.net. You can get to creatingpros.com. You can get to booksandbeer.com that way. And you can get to all the shows we're running through Continual. And I will go ahead and do the quick plug for later tonight. Starting at 7:30, we're going to be having live music on with Antler Hill, and I'll be back on for that as well.
Cool.
Good.
And you'll be able to catch that right here on Con Carolinas as another live stream, or on Twitch at Twitch/Continual Convention.
And I am Darin Kennedy, and both of my first books are available on the same 99-cent sale with Samantha's. And the name of Samantha's first book is
Going Through the Change
by Samantha Bryant. Go buy it right now. And this is the Mussorgsky Riddle, and that's my urban paranormal thriller mystery. And then this is the Pawn Gambit. This is the first book of the Pawn Stratagem. This is my contemporary fantasy chess novel. So if either of that sounds interesting to you, go check them out. It's 99 cents each. And thank you to Con Carolinas for having us, and Continual for sponsoring all of this. And hope everyone has a great night. Thank you.
Bye, guys. It was nice to see you.
See everybody
You
shortly.
too. Bye, everybody.
And let me kill the streams. Let me cross the streams.
So we get paid for this, right? Is this Bitcoin or what? How do we get paid for this?
I think you get paid in exposure, Chris.
Yeah.
You get exposure.
How did you
bucks.
know I wasn't wearing pants?
I almost died of
It's
exposure.
Zoom meeting. Who wears pants?
I almost just died of
Pants?
exposure.
You only matter from here up.
Britches? Who needs those stinking britches? You know,
You don't even need the other half of your shirt.
I don't have the other half of my shirt. Thank you very much.
I
It's
exist
all
only from
surgery
here up.
scars and catheters from here down.
So Jim, when the recording is up, if you'll send out links, then I can share that around and such. I didn't get to share it ahead.
Yeah, it'll still be up on Con Carolinas, and we'll probably replay it in there somewhere as well. But yeah, I'll share the link between you guys. I'll send you where you can get the link, and then it'll also go up on the YouTube channel and all that sort of good stuff as well.
Sounds good.
That went well. I hope I did it justice, Chris.
My friend, the torch has been officially passed. It's all yours.
Alrighty. Well,
Good to see you, Chris, as always. To harass you because I'd hate to get that ego to get too much bigger.
Suck my stump, Jim.
Ew.
I love you too.
That got dark, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just not good. Sometimes having a good imagination.